Hey guys, it's Simeon. This is Wrestling Unlimited as we are here on the, what's today's date? 7th of September, 2021 to talk about everything that went down tonight on NXT. I'm getting the poll up right now. What did you think of tonight's NXT? I liked it. It was all right. I didn't like it. I don't know about anybody else, but NXT ended. Wedding Crashers came on, and I got slightly, and I'll say just slightly, distracted. Great movie. All-time classic movie, Wedding Crashers. Poll is live on Twitch. Let's get it live on YouTube. I liked it. It was all right. Also a little distracted because I got my PS5 today. We're going to have some fun with that on stream coming up. You know what? Thank you, Fonzie, for letting me know the ticker's down. I was recording some other videos earlier that didn't require the ticker, that didn't need the ticker. So, yeah. And I didn't like it. Thank you guys for keeping me on my toes. All right, we got that up. We got Chase there, not getting married in real life. It's all storyline WWE stuff. And we'll talk about what I think could happen at that wedding next week on NXT. But with that, I want to say thank you for joining me here. Twitch.tv/PWU Unlimited, YouTube.com/Pro Wrestling Unlimited, and Twitter.com/PW Unlimited. Remember, if you are watching on Twitch, you can help us out a couple of different ways. You can help us out by hitting that donate button down below or donating Twitch bits in the live chat. Also, remember, you can subscribe to the channel one of two different ways. You can either subscribe with a tiered subscription, or you can subscribe with Amazon Prime. Because if you have Amazon Prime, well, then you have Prime Gaming. Prime Gaming gives you one free subscription to any Twitch channel that you want to subscribe to throughout the month. And I greatly appreciate it. If you subscribe to us right here, Pro Wrestling Unlimited, but it's not the only thing you get from Twitch Prime and Prime Gaming and whatever they call it. You get free games sometimes. You get perks and all that for different games as well. And if you say, I don't have Amazon Prime, I don't pay Jeff Bezos for that shipping, well, you can always just ask somebody else that may have it if you can use it, like your mom, your dad, your sister, your brother, your auntie, your uncle, your sister-in-law, your best friend, the guy that rotated your tires at Walmart yesterday, the girl that gave you your scone at the bakery before work. Say, hey, you got Amazon Prime? Oh, you do? Well, do you link it up to a Twitch account? No. Can I? And then if they say yes, of course, right here, Pro Wrestling Unlimited. But with that on the flip side, if you're watching over on YouTube, you can help us out a couple of different ways there as well. You can donate a super chat or a super sticker in the live chat. Or remember, you can subscribe as a channel member by hitting that join button down below. As a channel member, you get early access to news, early access to podcast episodes, early access to non-news videos, and so much more. And the most direct way to support us is patreon.com/PW Unlimited. But with that, guys, we've got NXT to talk about, so let's jump right in. The show opened up with a women's match that was set up last week on the show. It was Kayla LeRae versus Ember. Hold on. Johnson740 in the Twitch chat says, I've never seen Wedding Crashers the movie. Wow. Just wow. It's a 2005 movie, and you better go see it soon because the sequel's coming soon. They're supposed to start filming this month. Wedding Crashers 2. Yeah. Almost 10. No. Holy crap. That movie is a lot older than I realized. Wedding Crashers is almost 15 years old. Holy moly. I did not even think about that. Wedding Crashers is... No, it is. Wedding Crashers is 16 years old. Holy crap, that movie's almost 20 years old. Where the fuck does time go? I'm getting old. Movie came out in 2005, and I remember watching it in high school. Holy moly. Anyways. Whoops. I meant to not do something in the chat. Oh, well. Gabriel Perez, yes, I did see the Jungle Boy update for the AEW video game, but I didn't really report on it. I may put something up just brief on the website, but there wasn't much shown, so there's not really anything to report. I mean, I could report on the mobile game stuff, GM mode. So we'll see. I've had a very busy day and afternoon. I've been going since 5 a.m. this morning, and I went to bed at 3 a.m. So, yeah. So where was I? The match started up. It was Kayla Ray versus Ember Moon. They had a really good match. They worked really, really well together. It was a competitive match from the start, with Moon getting some quick offense in. Moon was cut off, though, and Ray slowed down the pace by working over Moon. Ray targeted the arm. Moon fought back while still selling her arm. Moon struck a flying code breaker for a near fall. Moon applied a crossface, and Ray was able to escape and sent Moon crashing into the turnbuckle. The show cut to commercial, picture-in-picture, like 2 minutes into this match or so, and Moon was in trouble throughout most of it. Moon did make a comeback when the show returned. Ray responded by executing a tornado DDT. A moment later, Moon reversed a suplex. She reversed that suplex, and Moon suplexed Ray out of the ring, followed by a tope. Moon went to the top rope, but Ray cut her off. Ray leapt off the top into a swanton bomb and got a 2 off of it. Ray would use the counter of her own here a moment later after Moon tried to go for a Michinoku driver. Ray then dropped Moon to the mat with a gory bomb, and Ray covered and got the 3. So Ember Moon loses, and this is leading to something. I don't know if it's a turn, I don't know what, but it's leading to something, and I've got a stray strand of something here on my hat that's really bugging me in the camera. Anyways, so Ember Moon loses, and fast forward to later. Oh, well, I'll fix that later. It's going to bug me. Fast forward to later, Ember Moon does an interview where she's like, I've been losing a lot. Since we lost some tag titles, nothing's gone right for me. Maybe things need to change. So, where was I? In the back, Mackenzie Mitchell interviewed Danny Burch and Oni Lorcan. Pete Dunne and Ridge Holland were flanked as well. Burch did not want to talk about his return. He and Lorcan vowed to win the tag titles tonight. Dunne told them to not only win the titles, but end MSK. So we go to the Bachelorette Party of Indy Hartwell. This is a little better than I expected, to be honest. Indy showed up to her bachelor party with Candice, and Candice and Indy sat down as there were friends at the table. Candice made a joke that Indy doesn't have any friends, and Indy's like, "Excuse me?" And she's like, "Oh, nothing. So they were all going, and Indy said that her friend's here from Australia, and she's like, "Nah, I really just came for Disney World." And Indy toasted Candice, and Candice gave a toast saying that she accepted Dexter Loomis. There were jokes about... So Candice went to do her speech, and Casey and Caden started filming a TikTok, and fucking Candice, I loved this. She goes, "Hey, quit flip-flopping over there." They're like, "It's TikTok." I thought that was great. Showed her age. Whatever. That's something that I would have done. You little flip-flopper, tick-a-talker. When he goes, I wonder what the boys are doing at the bachelor party. Candice said, "I still got my spy gear. You want to go check it out?" And they left. Just left. Everybody at the party. Just said, sayonara. Actually, they didn't even say sayonara. They literally just got up and walked out. Robbie Rice, I didn't say Wedding Crashers is the best comedy, and I wouldn't say 40-Year-Old Virgin either. I mean, my favorite movie, my favorite comedy of all time, The Waterboy, Adam Sandler. Adam Sandler and The Waterboy, in my opinion, is the greatest comedy of all time. That is my second favorite movie of all time. I almost said third, but it's my second favorite movie of all time. So next up, we had Carmelo Hayes versus Santos Escobar, and this is a really fun match, and I love the dynamic in this match and how they're building up Electro Lopez, but unfortunately, commentary messed up, and both Wade and Beth kept calling her Alexa Lopez, even though it's Electra Lopez. So Santos Escobar came down. He had Joaquin Wilde, he had Raul Mendoza, and Electra Lopez with him. She plays into the finish here. So, also, what was Lopez supposed to be? Carmen Sandiego with the black hat, the sunglasses, and the red jacket? Just saying. The match went through a commercial break. Not much happened before, other than Hayes was sent flying off the apron, and he smacked the announce table and went down selling as the show went to break. Escobar worked over Hayes when they came back, and Hayes did make a comeback. He exploded into a flurry of offense. There was a springboard guillotine leg drop, springboard clothesline, and a cutter by Hayes. Escobar kicked out of all that. Hayes went for another springboard, and Escobar struck with a knee strike in midair. Hayes would fight back into a counter, and he delivered a code breaker. There was a La Mystica takedown by Hayes for another 2. Hayes DDT'd Escobar on the apron, and Legado del Fantasma would soon interfere and cause a distraction. They did like the China spot. Basically, they distracted long enough for Lopez to grab Carmelo Hayes after she took the jacket off and just scoop slam him right on the floor. Just drop him. Escobar then executed the Phantom Driver in the ring and picked up the victory. So I kind of liked this. Yeah, there was the outside interference and whatnot, but it is furthering Electra Lopez, saying, hey, she's not just some pretty face out there. She'll scrap and get involved with anybody, man or woman. So I really like that. And it also showed that she's got strength by scoop slamming the guy. You know what I mean? She got involved. She attacked the male. You know, in wrestling, you're supposed to think, yeah, men and women are somewhat equal, but the men are most of the time stronger, and sometimes the women can't lift the men, because we've seen that in intergender stuff where the woman's like, I can't get the man up, but this time it was ease. She's just, whoo, boom, scoop slam. So I really like this, that, because later on they did the whole thing with Hit Row and B-Fab, where she's like, when we get in the ring together, but it showed, we don't know how B-Fab's going to be, but it shows us that Electra Lopez, she's no joke, and she's strong. So that's what she's got going for her, is her strength. And they established that tonight. We saw Casey Catanzaro and Caden Carter warming up for their tag team match later on, actually tag team title match. Malcolm Bivens introduced the Creed brothers as the newest members of Diamond Mine, and they would team up later in their official in-ring debut. William Regal makes a big announcement concerning the NXT Championship. He says, next week, we will have a fatal four-way to determine the number one contender for Joe in the title. In this fatal four-way will be Kyle O'Reilly, Tommaso Ciampa, Pete Dunne, and LA Knight. Winner, we get a future title shot against Samoa Joe. So next up, we had Julius and Brutus Creed of Diamond Mine against, I think they were Chucky Viola and Paxton something. I didn't get his last name. I think it started with an A. I think it was Chucky Viola and Paxton something. I didn't get his last name. The Creed brothers basically just won in very, very easy fashion. This was a total enhancement match. And if you don't watch out, these guys can become the new Steiner brothers. They talked about both of these guys being very, very successful in amateur wrestling. I think one of them is completely undefeated in NCAA competition, and the other made it to the top 5 in the Olympic trials. So, yeah, I thought this match was really good. I thought the enhancement guys, I guess you could say, did a really good job selling and making the others, Julius and Brutus, look good, because this is their first match, like, at all. WWE doesn't run NXT house shows anymore. And these guys were signed to last year. So it's not like, yeah, they've had matches at the PC and stuff, but they've never worked in front of a crowd before tonight. So They did well. I don't know if this Chucky Viola and Paxton, whatever, I don't know where they're from and what they've done previous, but they did a good job making Julius and Brutus, the Creed brothers, look strong. And, what was I going to say? You know, these are two guys that I think can do really well as a tag team. And like I said, they can be akin to the Steiner brothers. Also, Rick Zone. I heard about, so Rick Zone says breaking news. It was an earthquake in Mexico. Was a CMC or AAA match that was stopped due to the earthquake. Okay, so I heard about the earthquake. Didn't know anything about a wrestling match that was stopped. Let's go look up that on Twitter really fast. Let me see. See if we can see anything about the earthquake. Okay, so this was CMLL. It was at a CMLL show. Actually, I'll pull up the video right here. There's apparently video during the show of the earthquake happening. I'm going to put my headphones on so I can hear this audio. Let's do this. Pull this video up. This video does come from Alerta News 24. I don't know who. Originally it was posted by Mas Luchistico. Whoop. Wrong screen there. Whoop. I did it again. Switch screens. This is wild. We're in the middle of a wrestling show, even though this crowd is like, there's no crowd. This is what we got. This match is going on. Let's start from the beginning. It looks like either the match was going on or just started. I'm not sure. And everyone jumps out of the ring and like, what the heck's going on? The earthquake's going on. The wrestlers are trying to hold on. It was like a 7.4 magnitude earthquake. Not many people there in the crowd. Looks like the earthquake has subsided. I mean, that would be scary. You're in the ring. Good thing no one was like on the top rope or anything. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. But interesting. Interesting. Give me 2 seconds here to that. Pull this back here. All right, we're good to go. We're good to go. So hopefully everybody's okay from the earthquake. It was a 7.4 magnitude in southern Mexico. Wild. Rig Zone says report was 7-0 from, who did I see it from? This, I saw it from, oh wow, the earthquake was so bad, power flashes started going off near Mexico City as well. Yikes. Also, CNN says 7.0, but I had seen from Associated Press, they said 7, what was it, 7.4. Associated Press, CNN says 7.0. New York Times says 7-1. So it's not 100% how. All we know is the earthquake in Mexico City was at least 7. And Landon in the YouTube chat says Paxton's last name is Averill. Averill? Gotcha. Thank you for that. I didn't catch the last name. So going forward, like I said, I really like these Creed brothers, and I think they can be the new Steiners. We talked about the Ember Moon thing where she's like, things got to change. I can't keep going the way I'm going. Hero cut a promo on Legado del Fantasma. Great stuff here. Continues that feud. And BFAB talked about getting hit with the lead pipe from Lopez and how once they actually come face to face, it ain't going to be good for Lopez. I don't know. We haven't seen B-Fab do anything, so maybe it ain't going to be good for B-Fab. So next up, the women's tag team titles were on the line when Io Shirai and Zoe Stark defended against Kacy Catanzaro and Kaden Carter. Shirai tried to do all the work herself and basically ignored Zoe Stark. That would eventually backfire on Shirai when the babyfaces made a blind tag. Carter and Catanzaro used a tandem offense and double team maneuvers against Shirai. Stark finally was able to tag herself in, and Shirai was not happy about that at all. Stark whipped Carter into a corner, causing Carter to collide with Shirai. Stark then charged forward and ran into her own partner. Shirai was sent sailing off the apron. Carter with an arm lock DDT on Stark. Carter held Catanzaro on her shoulders on the second rope, and they did like an electric chair splash, second rope, it was a cool looking move. Got a 2 off of it for the pin. Shirai made the save here with a missile drop kick. Stark capitalized by delivering her signature modified GTS. Stark tagged in Io, and Io climbed the top rope. Shirai then did her moonsault and covered Catanzaro to pick up the victory and retain the NXT Women's Tag Team title. So dissension here by the champions. As the challengers were leaving and going up the ramp, they were attacked by Mandy Rose, or should I say Sheamus, the female version, Gigi Dolan, and JC Jane. Mandy Rose was wearing a protective mask, just like Sheamus on Raw. And the other two did most of the work here. Cool. I don't know if Mandy's legit had some sort of a nose facial injury or if this is all storyline, because the whole thing was Saray kicked her in the face last week and she just left her match. So next up, we go to the Bachelor Party. This was fun as well. Dexter Lumis and Johnny Gargano were riding in a limo to the Bachelor Party, and Johnny goes, hold on. Who's paying for this party? Also, I ain't paying for no wedding. Don't even ask that. And in comes Cameron Grimes, and he says he's about to take this party to the moon. And Johnny immediately goes, don't you hate this guy? I thought you hated him. And he's like, Ted DiBiase told me that money can solve anything. We're square, right? We're good. He gives Dexter some money and says, I'll pay for your wedding. And they're all good. There's even the infamous zombie referee at the Bachelor Party as well. Grimes was handing out money to everybody. And they showed up and did some go-kart racing. Grimes put $300,000 in prize money down. Meanwhile, Indy and Candice were spying on them from one of the cars that were inside of the track. Gargano ended up winning the race. Next up, the party moved to axe throwing. All the guys were doing different levels of throwing, and Johnny just couldn't get it done. He just couldn't throw the axe to get it to stick in the wood until Dexter came up and was like, he didn't say it, but he turned Johnny's hand. So he's holding it like this, and then he's like, now bring your arm in. And he's moving Johnny's hand, and he's like, back. And Johnny throws the axe, and bada bing, bada boom. He gets it. He starts nailing it. Next up, they move to, I guess you say trampoline park is what you would call this. And they're all bouncing around and everything. And Cameron Grimes looks at Odyssey Jones, and I think he said $10,000. He goes, $10,000? You can't bounce Maverick to the moon. He goes, oh, you're on. And Maverick looks over and goes, wait, what? To the moon? And he goes over and he bounces Drake Maverick. He doesn't fly up that high, but he flips around and lands down. This was funny. This was very funny. Finally, moved to laser tag. And all of the males that were actually just announced, was it last week, as new recruits, except for little Uso, made an appearance in this segment here. It was the main Bachelor Party squad, which was Johnny, Dexter, Odyssey Jones, Cameron Grimes, Drake Maverick, and the zombie ref against a bunch of other guys, including Bobby Stevenson, the brother of Olympic gold medalist Gable Stevenson. So they're doing the laser tag, and at one point, this blonde guy gets choked out by Dexter. Johnny runs up and goes, gotcha. Then another guy gets chloroformed in the face with the rag. Johnny comes up, gotcha. And finally, they're all standing around. And the referee says something, and he says, A at the end, and they go, whoa. I think Drake Maverick goes, you're Canadian? And finally, they made Johnny high five Loomis, and Johnny embraced it. And here's my theory. Dexter don't really love Indy. He don't want to marry Indy. I think he's doing all of this to get back at Johnny, because Johnny made his life hell for a little while. So he's going to play nice and make it seem like, oh, Indy loves me. Eventually, Indy will get Johnny to let his guard down and then whoop his ass. I think that's what this is going to lead to. I don't think Dexter loves Indy at all. I think he's using Indy to get to Johnny, for Johnny to let his guard down, and then Dexter going to beat Johnny's ass. I could be wrong, but that's where I think this is leading to. Johnny gets his ass beat during the wedding. Or I could be wrong and they just go, well, he said, I do. He actually said it, and he finally spoke, and he doesn't say anything else. So eventually, Indy and Candice show up at the Bachelor Party at the laser tag. And they're like, you guys high-fived. Oh, my God. Yay. And then Johnny's like, what are you guys doing here? Candice, are you spying again? And she's like, good to see you guys high-fiving. He's like, yeah, I'm high-five Dexter. Let's have a wedding. So we'll see. Here's a video plug the in-ring debut of Mei Ying. If you don't know, it's actually Karen Q. We reported that like a year ago. Then we got Frankie Monet and Jessie Kamea standing in front of a mirror, like a little. What do they call that? Oh, there's a fancy term for this. I don't know. It's a mirror with lights around it on a table, and yeah. Anyways, they're standing there and they're going off on, oh, the wedding next week. It's the only thing people are talking about on Twitter, and I'm like, no one's talking about this on Twitter. But anyways. Not Dexter Loomis, but Robert Stone runs up. He's like, oh, I talked to Regal. And you're like, whoa, hold on. First off, don't breathe on us like that. And he goes, well, let me catch my breath. Next week, it's been made. It's official. And she's like, what are you talking about? Frankie says that. He's like, Frankie Monet. I guess Raquel Gonzalez. With the NXT Women's Championship on the line, you've got it. And she's like, oh, yeah, I'm going to be the new champion. And in my opinion, people ain't going to want to see this, but I think Frankie wins the belt. I think Frankie Monet, your new NXT Women's Champion. If you know anything about Frankie Monet, a.k.a. the former Taya Valkyrie, she is an amazing champion. I think she would do wonders as the NXT Women's Champion. And I mean, we need at least one title change going into the, quote, new era of NXT. Why not? Why not with the women's title? Johnson740 says, hey, Tim, are you going to see Candyman? I'm not a fan of scary movies or horror films or whatever. They bore me, to be completely honest. I'll watch it if somebody says, hey, come with me and watch it, or hey, you want to watch this with me? Sure, I ain't going to make the decision myself because they kind of bore me. So, going forward, we had a nothing match here. It was Mei Ying against Virginia Ferry. She beat her in very quick fashion. Chop dropped right to the throat. Quack. Ferry countered. Jawbreaker. Ying rocked her with the kick. More chops to the throat. I call it a chop drop. Ying then stomped on Ferry. Ying applied her Tongan death grip. Just like Ming or Meng, whatever they call him. However you say it. I've heard it say both ways. Ming and Meng. And she ended up pinning Ferry to pick up the victory. Tommaso Ciampa talked about the match next week, the number one contenders match. Kyle O'Reilly talked about the number one contenders match. And this was one of the better promos we've seen from Kyle O'Reilly because he was serious. He wasn't trying to be cool Kyle and maybe crack a joke. I really like this from Kyle O'Reilly. This is like one of the better promos he's done. Also, LA Knight cut a cool promo in a Corvette driving down, I guess it's the streets of LA. So next week, we know 3 things for the debut of the new NXT. We got the Fatal 4-Way for the NXT Championship, the number one contender spot. It was Ciampa, O'Reilly, Knight, and Dunn. The NXT Women's Championship will be on the line when Raquel Gonzalez defends against Frankie Monet, and the wedding of Index. Fonzie says, do you still have the box for your PS5? Well, yeah. I literally got my PS5 5 hours ago, 6 hours ago. Also, check this out really fast. Sorry for audio listeners, but this is nuts. Watch this. So I ordered the PS5 through Walmart, and this is the big ass box they sent it in, right? Now when I open this, look how small compared to this, the box for the PlayStation 5 is. Twice the size of the actual PlayStation box, so they can foam it all, or whatever you want to call this all. Wild. I saw that box sitting in front of my front door when the UPS guy dropped it off, and I go, I knew the PS5 was big, but not that big. And they open it up and I go, oh, it's only half. Half that box is the PS5. I was like, Jesus Christ. Gabriel says I get mine in December. Awesome. Mine was supposed to come October 8th. And then all of a sudden yesterday I get a text message from, what was the UPS or whatever, and it says, your shipment is out for delivery. Didn't come yesterday, but then it came today. I was like, out for delivery? I wasn't supposed to get this thing for another month. Awesome. So going forward, we had our main event. The NXT Tag Team Champions, MSK, against Pete Dunne and Oni Lorcan. Mr. Bangs, yes, I actually, straight up, I'll just tell you guys, PS5, at least through Walmart, base PS5, $499. After tax, $560. Plus, I paid an extra $70 for a second controller. So, yeah. So going forward, the NXT tag titles on the line. I enjoyed the hell out of this match. I thought this match was fantastic. This, I mean, I know people are going to say, well, the Young Bucks and Lucha Bros had a better tag team match at the pay-per-view. Completely different kind of thing. That was a cage match and whatever. This match, perfect. Perfect tag match for an episode of NXT. So, Birch started off the match. This was his first match since coming back from injury. Birch was super aggressive. MSK got to shine before the show cut to picture-in-picture break. There's a hot tag to Wes Lee, and Vic Joseph on commentary when we came back to the Lee is a house of fire before an actual, what did he say? He said he's a house of fire before he was actually a house of fire. Something, I don't remember. So Lee was nevertheless eventually on fire, and so was Carter. They got a near fall on the challengers, and Carter springboarded into an Acai moonsault. He went for a swanton, but Lorcan got his knees up. Lorcan with a chop block on Carter. Lorcan applied an ankle lock. Lee tried to make the save, but Birch trapped Lee in a crossface. The defending champs were both caught in submission, and they escaped the clutches of the heels. The match turned into a melee with all guys just brawling for a moment. Lorcan missed a charge, and he was hip-tossed into the corner. Lorcan then fell victim to MSK's heart attack blockbuster combo finisher, and Lee covered him to retain the titles. So, champions, they leave. Danny Burch and Oni Lorcan, they're all knocked out in the ring. They're like crawling to get to the ropes to try to stand up. Rich Holland and Pete Dunne get in the ring. Pete Dunne and Rich Holland are looking up at MSK as they're walking out. Rich Holland then looks at Pete Dunne. Pete Dunne looks at Rich Holland. Pete kind of like grabs Ridge by the side of the head, and he's like, Holland then attacks. Holland turns on Birch and Lorcan, and they take him out. They look up at Dunne, and Dunne just goes before he attacks as well. So it looks like we got the babyface turn. Oni Lorcan and Danny Burch are once again baby faces. Now they can team up, or not team up, but they can team against Pete Dunne and Ridge Holland. Now this match ain't going to happen next week, even though it was set up for something. Like the way this match was set up at the end of the show, definitely it should be a tag team match on next week's show, but Pete Dunne is in that fatal four-way match, so it's not going to happen. But with that is how the show went off the air, with Dunne and Holland attacking Lorcan and Birch. But with that, guys, that was NXT. I enjoyed the show for the most part. Actually, no. I enjoyed everything on this show, to be completely honest. But with that now, I want to hear from you guys. I want to know what you guys thought of tonight's NXT. Let's check the polls to see what that is. Also, remember, you could text in 510-906-1341. The Twitch poll split right down the middle. 50% liked it. 50% thought it was just all right. Jack Dawson with a super chat. Thank you for that one. He says, keep up the good work. Congratulations on obtaining a PlayStation 5 Plus. Who do you think will be the first challengers for the AEW tag titles? I can see them, and I know Tony Khan doesn't really like doing a lot of rematches, but I can see them figuring out a way to get the Young Bucks back in there. But if you think about it, it's hard because I would say, Jurassic Express. They're the baby faces. Yes, AEW are more apt to doing babyface. I'm trying to think, is there a heel team built up enough in the rankings to challenge? I guess. Ooh, I got it. Santana and Ortiz. They beat FTR last week. They've got to be the highest ranked heel team, right? Well, no. Crap. They're not heels. They were heels in that feud, but they're not actually heels because Inner Circle came back together at the end of the Jericho match. Well, shit. I don't know. Maybe Santana and Ortiz. But I see Gabriel says FTR, but they just lost last week. So they're not in a position to get a title shot. They just lost. But we'll see. Trying to think. I'm trying to think if there's any heel teams in AEW built up enough. Maybe Private Party just as random challengers. Hold on. See if I can find the AEW rankings on their website, maybe. Here we go. AEW rankings from September 1st, which would have been last week. Tag team. September 3rd, Friday. So, maybe... I'm going to pull this up really fast, because this is interesting, actually. Here's the rankings for the AEW Tag Team Division. This was before All Out. So you got to switch the Young Bucks and the Lucha Bros. You got to switch them. But you also have Jungle Boy and Jurassic Express, or Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus, Jurassic Express. You got Santana and Ortiz. You got the Varsity Blondes, and you have FTR. So when you look at it, maybe Jurassic Express, but they're now in the main event scene with going against the Elite. So, I mean, the team that I see here that I think could be the best ones to challenge Pentagon and Phoenix, I'm going to say it. Santana and Ortiz. That's who I would go with right now. Santana and Ortiz. You could do FTR, but again, they just lost a match last week, so they're not in no contention, I don't think. Thomas here says, did you get any games with your PS5? Well, I've been saving all the PS Plus games. So I've got all those since the beginning of the year. Plus, I bought Ratchet and Clank because I love the Ratchet and Clank 2016, I think it was. Love that game. I got the new one, Rift Apart. Other than that, no. I've already got Miles Morales. That had a free upgrade from PS4 to PS5. I got MLB The Show. That's got a free upgrade from PS4 to PS5 because I got the deluxe edition of that. So I'm good on PS5 games for now. Until Horizon comes out, there's not really another PlayStation exclusive that I'm looking at that I'm interested in that I can't get on PC. Because if I can get it on PC, I'll get the game on PC. But there's PlayStation games coming up that I'm very interested in, like, of course, Ratchet and Clank, Horizon, the new Gran Turismo, God of War's coming. So there's all those games. And yeah. Avengers is for PS5. Avengers is also on PC. But I haven't been too into Avengers. I played it. I liked it. But it's not a game that I'm going to really get into because once you play through the story, then it just becomes do it with your friends kind of thing. And I don't have any friends that play Avengers. But regardless, Gabriel Horizon comes out in February of 2022. Go to the YouTube poll. 66% of you liked tonight's NXT. 23% thought it was just all right. And 11% did not like it. As far as the text messages do go, Jack Dawson says Elden Ring. Again, that game will be on PC. So if I get it, I'll most likely end up getting it for PC. Because it's easier for me with the PC. Because then I click one button, boom, I'm streaming. PlayStation 5, I got to grab the 20-foot HDMI cable, plug that in the computer, plug the capture card in the computer. It's a process. So if I can get the game on PC and I know that it's a game that'll run fine on my PC, then I'd rather just get it on PC. So as far as PlayStation exclusive games, there are a number of games coming out next year that I'm interested in, so we'll see. Tim, September PlayStation presentation. Yeah, Thursday. Trust me, guy. I know. Thursday at 1 Pacific. Text messages here. Boom, 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 boom. Skipped one. This person says, I'm very excited for the new NXT, and I'm very excited about WWE's decision to try and bring homegrown talent like new Diamond Mine members. I mean, we'll see how they do. Honestly, we haven't seen that many homegrown talent do extremely well in WWE. I mean, they had Roman, Charlotte. But when you think about it, they had Ty Conti. And here's the thing. Whenever Ty Conti would wrestle on NXT, you go, oh no, a Ty Conti match. Taynara Conti, this is going to suck. But now you see her in AEW, and those coaches there, Dustin Rhodes and Jerry Lynn and them, they've made her a good wrestler. A good wrestler. So it's like, has WWE's homegrown talent really done that great? I know a lot of people keep trying to tell me, Miro's homegrown. Miro is a from the ground WWE guy. No, he's not. Miro actually first started training with Rikishi at his school, Knox Pro. Whenever I say that, I say WWE hasn't had that many successful homegrowns. Everyone keeps trying to bring Miro to me, but Miro had training before WWE. He didn't do much before WWE, but he at least had some training before coming to WWE. Homegrown means you didn't train at all. Like, I don't think Roman trained at all. Charlotte, of course, we know didn't train at all before she came to WWE. Like, Roman's situation is different because we don't know when he was younger if he ever rolled around and did anything in a ring. I don't think he did, but yeah. Magma says, isn't Bianca Belair also a homegrown? Yes, she is. That is one success story. That is one. You are right there. You are right there. He said she managed to main event WrestleMania. Correct. But so did Charlotte Flair and Ronda Rousey and Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks. It was because the main event of WrestleMania. Yes, it was history making because they were the first two African American women to main event WrestleMania, but they weren't the first women. And if you also really look at it, some people look at it this way, that was a night one main event, but the real main event was the night two main event in the Universal title match. So if you look at it in that way, which a lot of people actually do because people come to me with that all the time, you know, Becky, Charlotte, and Ronda had a real, and I'm not diminishing what Bianca and Sasha did, but a real WrestleMania main event where it was the last match of WrestleMania. Because when you look at what the true WrestleMania main event is, whatever WWE feels like, if it was a one-night WrestleMania, night two main event would be the main event. Roman, Edge, Bryan. Well, WrestleMania 35, final match, Charlotte, Becky, Ronda. Just saying. Okay, well, Press says Dominik is homegrown. No. Do you not know how much Dominik was trained? Okay, so Dominik didn't have an actual match before coming to WWE, but he trained in Mexico. He trained in Los Angeles. He trained in Mexico. I don't know with who. He trained in LA with Brian Kendrick and Santino Bros. He trained in Canada with Lance Storm. Ray had this kid going a lot of different places. If it wasn't for the pandemic hitting, he probably would have gone to Japan too. Well, it wasn't for the pandemic hitting and Ray coming to WWE before that, so the pandemic doesn't even really mean much. But Ray had Dominik do a bunch of different types of training before even thinking about having him wrestle for WWE. Again, he did some training in Mexico. He trained in Los Angeles with Brian Kendrick, who's a great trainer, and he trained in Canada with Lance Storm, who's also a great trainer. So again, Dominik is a little homegrown just because his first match was in WWE and he never had a match before. But he was already training well before he ever came to WWE. Fonzie says Alexa Bliss. Yes, she's another one that didn't have any training before and has been very successful. I mean, there have been a good number of names, but there haven't been a lot when you really look at it. There haven't been a lot. This next time here says, is NXT ever going to run house shows in the future? It hasn't been talked about at all since they stopped doing it last year. I don't know. I assume it's a cost-cutting measure. I think they should at least run like one a week once everything is good to go. Like just in Florida, run one a week. Just so you can get guys that are not wrestling on NXT ring time in front of a crowd. And this last text message here says, I have two things. Do you see Jon Moxley challenging for the TNT Championship in the near future? And do you see Lorcan and Birch turning babyface after what happened? Yes, that was a babyface turn for Lorcan and Birch. And as far as Moxley, no, I don't see him challenging for the TNT title anytime soon. He's got Suzuki coming up. He still wants that U.S. title match against Tanahashi. So no, I don't see him going for the TNT title. Plus, there's an interesting dynamic here with Moxley right now, because on November 13th, Moxley was supposed to work a New Japan show in San Jose, California, which some thought maybe could have been that U.S. title match against Tanahashi. But now, AEW had to move full gear to November 13th, and we don't know if they're going to tell Moxley he can't work the New Japan show now. That's going to be an interesting one, because they have the right to say, no, you're not working the New Japan show, even though he was already scheduled for it. Gabriel asked about Braun Strowman. Braun is also a homegrown talent, yes. But again, homegrown compared to non-homegrown, there's way more non-homegrown in WWE than there is. And there is a lot of homegrown that wasn't successful. But with that, I want to thank you for joining me here. Twitch.tv/PWU Unlimited. YouTube.com/Pro Wrestling Unlimited. Remember, you can follow us on social media, Facebook.com/Pro Wrestling ULTD. Follow us on Instagram by searching for Pro Wrestling Unlimited. And follow us on Twitter, if you're not watching right now, at PW Unlimited. We'll be live again on tomorrow for Dynamite. AEW Dynamite should be an interesting show with all the fallout from All Out. So with that, guys, have a great rest of your night, and I'll see you next time.